to Real Home Editions with Erica Foster. This morning, we're going to have a real talk. This is all off the cuff, so just roll with me here. No notes included. About buying versus renting, and I'm going to use real life experience from Gabe and I, how we started, our own personal journey through home buying, and maybe it can be related to you if you are on the sidelines and you are renting. Maybe you're living in the parents' basement right now. I don't know. If you have bought a home and you're trying to think of when should I jump, make that move, buy my next one, when do I have enough equity to do this, how do I do a renovation budget to make this work for me, when's the best time to sell. Hopefully I get to answer some of those questions and tell you a little bit about how we did things. I would like to think that we're done and maybe we've settled in. I know a lot of people look at us and say, you're young, you're not done. I, and Gabe would concur, would like to think we are. So, anyways, here's a little tidbit. Take it with a grain of salt. This is just how we did it, and it's worked out great for us. So, back when Gabe and I got married, he's going to shoot me. It was 2013, 2014, something like that. Y'all, I'm the worst with dates, by the way. I got signs, t-shirts, everything made wrong with our anniversary date. I'm the worst. So anyways, back when we got married, we bought our first house. It was over in Noonan, and I believe we paid, if I'm thinking right, it was like $162, $164. We decided to put 20% down. We were a conventional loan. For those of you who have looked at loan types, know anything about that. If you don't know about loan types, send me a message. I would love to get you with a lender, and you can explore those different options. There's so many different loan types out there. But we were conventional. We put 20% down and purchased that house, moved in. 1 year later, we were sitting at the closing table, and Ellie, our oldest, she was 1 week old. So I got pregnant quick after we got married. Ellie was 1 week old at the closing table where we were selling that house. And y'all, that house was awesome. It was just really tiny. It needed zero work, so we put nothing into it. And that year of holding it, all we were doing was just making payments on the house, just your mortgage payments. And at that time, we didn't have 2 dimes to our name. Like, I was an entry-level teacher. I was making, it was like $38,000 a year. Gabe was entry-level finance guy of an accountant, I think making the exact same money, like $40,000 a year. So, and when you factor in cost of living and what we were paying and all that, and he was trying to get his CPA license and going to school for that, I was still factoring in and stuff. I mean, it was just a lot. And so we were just making the payments on it, and we decided we needed something bigger. Ellie was born, needed a bigger yard. She's 1 week old at the closing table, and we decided to go buy our next house. The house we decided to buy was, in my opinion at the time, it was one of the greatest streets for some really super young 20-year-olds, but it was really in rough shape, and it was the worst house on the block at the time. We bought that house for $240,000. Again, still in Noonan, fabulous street, worst house on the block. It needed basically just a lot of cosmetics. So what we did is, I think we put down like, I don't know, it was like 17% or something. So we had that PMI. If you're unfamiliar with what PMI is, it's private mortgage insurance. And once, if you're on a conventional loan, once you hit 20% off in your payments, that PMI, you can get it taken off. So you're no longer paying that extra little portion, and your mortgage payment goes down. So we held back a little bit of our down payment, and we decided we're going to use that extra little bit of money, and we're going to put our cosmetic update fund into effect. And we did new flooring. We updated the kitchen. We painted. We did like a lot of the cosmetic things that it needed to be done. I feel like we went about it really smart with that house because while it was the worst one on the block, yes, we did get it at a really good price for that street. It was a great price at the time. We only stayed there for a couple years and then we were ready to sell. The driveway was like on a mountain. And so we knew it wasn't going to be our forever home. So we did not put tons of funds into the house. So we turned around a couple years later, sold it. Sold it for a pretty good little profit. Bought a house in Peachtree City, 20% down. And that was in 2018. And so while at that house, this is when it really went into high gear. We got that house, $415 is what we paid. And then that's when we started going into overdrive of, okay, now we are putting money into a house where it was updated, but our money started going into all the unseen things. So all the stuff behind the walls that you can't see, that's where our money started going into. And then after we got done with that, like the not fun stuff, which is what I call it, then we started putting our money towards the stuff you can see. So we did a pool renovation on that. That was, you're looking, I think what we did with doing like the Pebble Tech, resurfacing everything, new coping. We did new pool equipment. We were around 50 is what it ended up being. And Gabe and I, to save money, we ended up doing our own landscaping in the back. Had it been a house we knew we were going to stay at, we would have had that professionally done and made it just awesome, but we knew we were leaving. On the inside, we started going with shiplap, new lighting fixtures, paint. We did a bathroom in the master. We did bathroom shower remodel, took down a wall, and I'm trying to think. We did a good bit in that house. There was more that we did in there. But then it started getting into the cosmetics inside. Had we stayed, we would have done new windows. We had some plans on reconfiguring some things, maybe in the laundry room and garage. But we decided we're moving. We know we're not going to stay here, so we're going to stop with putting more money in. So we knew, okay, we can't sell it without redoing the pool. The pool needed to be done. So we had budgeted that out of what do you have to do? How are we going to do this? Where's the money need to go? Budget effectively, save, put your money towards that. And then my mindset was when a buyer walks into this house, what are the trends that the buyer needs to see? What's going to grab their attention? What colors do they want to look at? What lighting fixtures do they want to look at? How does it need to smell? It was full on mode of what does a buyer want to look at? Even down to the bathroom when we did the shower remodel, it was if you're in the shower, it's too tight, whatever, we need to take down a wall because a buyer is going to want to see the light coming in. It went into full mode of what is a buyer's experience when they're in this house. Yes, we loved it while we were living there. Yes, we made it comfortable for us and our needs and what we liked. But if it's not a forever home, it's use your money wisely for what is the next person who buys this, what are they automatically going to love about it when they come. And so the minute we put it on the market, we were overrun with showings. We got top dollar for it. It sold for over $30,000 over list price. And I will say on my own personal home, that was probably the craziest offer that we received on it. And if anyone has questions on it, I'll be glad to share. But I've never seen an offer like what we had on ours. And I've been doing this for 5 years. But all to say, it's put your money where it's going to be most well worth it if it's a house that you're going to sell and not stay in. Since then, I know those buyers have done so much to that house. I'm so happy for them. I've heard that they're amazing. So it all worked out. And then after we did that, we knew we were looking for our forever home. By this point, we've built up enough equity out of all these years of making those payments on a house that we've owned. We weren't renting, we owned it. It was ours. We've made all these payments. We've had enough down payments on them of that 20%. And not to say if you're not putting less down, like 3, 5, that's still phenomenal, y'all. You're still building your own equity. It's going in your pocket. You're not renting, because if you're renting, you're paying someone else. It's yours. You're paying yourself. So, while you're doing this, at this point, you have put so much into your own pocket that now here comes your next dream home. And so Gabe and I knew, okay, let's make a list. If we're going to have a dream home, what do we must have? Like, what's our must have? What would we love to have? And like, how do we make this happen? And sure enough, I went off market, found something, secured it, and we got what we wanted. Now, of course, Gabe and I, being Gabe and I, like, we're going to do what we're going to do, and like, we're going to make changes. And as mentioned and promised on this podcast, I think later this fall, we may be doing some more updating. So far, we've done 2 bathrooms upstairs, but we have additional plans. And it's all about budgeting in the long run, what's going to give you either more square footage on your home. What is something that if you had to sell tomorrow, is it going to bring value to the next person who's coming through? Are you being too specific to taste, or is it something that, again, if you had to sell your home tomorrow, does it appeal to masses? But ultimately, you have to love your house, and it has to be your style too. So I think that that's the caveat. But getting back to buying versus selling, none of any of this would have been possible had we been renting. Had we had a gap in there where, like, starting out we were renting, or, I think even if we had taken a break and a couple years in there just rented, it definitely would have set us back and probably thrown us off track, and it just would have been a longer process. We are both in our 30s, and I think we feel very settled where we're at, but I think it's because we started so young into the buy process. That would be my number one tip. And I know with the cost of inflation, cost of living, I think it is very hard for young people these days to go and buy something. But I think if you get in the mindset of being very competitive, very laser forward focused of, I don't care what it is, I'm just going to go buy a piece of property and hold it, I think that's how you win. I think that's how you go ahead and build your equity. Look at it as like a stock. Look at it as a bond. Look at it as something that is going to grow and work for you over time. It's holding your money, and it's building wealth over time. And then you get to cash in. And then you get to go buy something else, cash in, build something else, go cash in. And that is how you build your money. It's an investment. So I think for young people, that's the trick. It is find something that you can afford the payment on, make it work in your budget, buy it. Buy it as soon as you can. Don't wait. Don't be afraid. Jump in feet first. And I guarantee you, like, cutting out your Starbucks lattes or whatever to make the payments, you're gonna hug yourself a year down the road and be like, I'm so glad I did this. Look how much equity I have built up. And then if I need to turn around and sell it in 2 years, man, that payoff is great. So that is my 2 cents. Renting, you're paying somebody else. It's going in their pocket. You'll never see a dime of it back. So I'm all about being a winner in the game of life, and especially in real estate. And that, my friends, is this podcast, Real Home Editions with Erica Foster. Have a good one.